Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about invention and let's start with the definition.
When you, for the very first time, would listen the word invention, you will think it's impossible. For example, electric bulb was invented, or for example, petroleum engine, or maybe it was like radio. Who could make the same in a very short time? No one. But I was learning in Kyiv Polytechnical Institute, and there were several subjects about patent holding, about inventions, and also I know how to translate trees, theory of solving invention problems. And I was so hoping for the subjects, and suddenly I realized that everyone from engineers know the subject, but no one is going to invent something. But I was happy. My grandfather is a famous inventor, and he was several times on so-called VDNH exhibition. This is a well-known, maybe most famous exhibition in post-Soviet Union, and he almost each year was creating an invention. And I was several times asking, how you do this? And he was saying to me, you should find a really deep burning problem. If the problem is burning, everyone would happy if you will solve it. But if you will make an invention just to be well-known, nothing will happen. So you should think about implementation first and invention second. Invention
It's also
second.
it's also similar to more like a product development as well. First, you do the discovery and trying to understand like what is the problem you're trying to solve versus like a getting married to your solution and actually pushing it and maybe being biased and then actually thinking about executions, and sometimes you might be failing. So when it comes to actually coming up with the ideas, what might be the process or like what might be the different approaches into solving something, how we should look at the problem from different angles in order to understand that potentially this might be a good solution.
Now I will give you two roads and you will decide which is better. First, you should go to read for 25 years all patents issued in your topic. It will take you like 3 weeks. And when you will read these newspapers and magazines, you will find a lot of completely beautiful inventions which was never implemented. Second, you should do it by yourself. This is like to invent a bike. Maybe you will create a bike with something very specific and everyone will like it, but maybe not. But if you will look at magazines, you will be tired because you will think, okay, everything is already invented. But if you will make it by yourself, you will be happy to check, is it okay or not? And if you already created some idea and you will find almost the same in magazine or newspaper, you could understand how to change it slightly and you will get it. But anyway, a lot of people, they try to create something which would amuse people. You should make it in another way. First, keep a cheap, low profile. If invention is cheap, everyone would invent it, because if you will create something expensive, would be cost too much money to implement and no one would risk it. Second, you should think if you could give to your subject some new points, some new features which are much better than something else. For example, there are rust on the metal, and if you will try to put some paint on it, it's one cost. But maybe you could use a gas which would constantly go on this metal and you will never have to repaint it.
And when it comes to different levels of, thinking about the problem, tackling it, and deciding what should be the solution, and actually executing on that, what might be the possible levels or even the dimensions of the levels that we may want to consider?
First level or zero level or ground level, when you try to solve the problem without talking to anyone. Second, you could go to Gemba or even different Gembas or even Gimbutsu. Gemba is a place where it occurs. Gimbutsu, you deeply look at the same place, not like several square meters, but several inches. And you should understand and to create the same by yourself, by your hands, for several times, like 100 or 1000. And after this, you will have a muscles memory, and you will understand, is it okay or not? If you are tired or not, how deeply you should change something to make it better. And after this, you should go deep inside. So you should close your eyes, close your mouth, switch off your phone, and think maybe for 2 or 3 days how to solve the problem. You know, troubleshooters always do inventions. We meet some expectation of our client, and they always saying, we have no time, we have no money, we have no expertise, but we have you. Do something. And if we will give something ordinary, no one, everyone would say, come on. But we could also make the same. So we could make invention and on another level, not a ground one, not a zero one. When we solve some problem, we should first solve this small problem, then we should widen our area of expertise to solve a class of this problem, not single one, but class of them, like 1 million, the same kind problem.
Well, it was actually quite nice reference to both Kaizen and troubleshooting. But now when it comes to, like all of the mistakes that people might be making during the process, or maybe even during the execution of their inventions, what there might be?
First is to be married with your idea. I steal your words you mentioned in several minutes ago. If you have first idea, you should cross it out. Then you should have second idea, cross it out. Third idea, cross it out. After you dismissed already 3 ideas, then you start to create list of 10 ideas. And after you will think which one is better. Too many people are trying to invent something in a very slight way with a soft touch. But it's not enough. You should, I don't know how to say, полный перебор, brute force. You should use
Brute
like
force.
a brute force to, for example, check for yourself 400 cases. And in this special moment, you will understand, okay, I have like 8 possible invention, which one will suit me better? And then you will choose one, pick one, but you never will create invention from one possibilities, from one road. You should a lot of.
And it seems like in our age, like when the technology is being developed, when we seemingly to have like a multiple tools, or maybe like a multiple approaches, when there's like a too many of us, so there is probably could be potentially a higher probability, or maybe like a biased probability of have the invention. So how the future of the invention for the humanity may look like?
You know, I'm wondering why so many people believe that artificial intellect will help us to make an invention. It will not help, and I will explain why. Artificial intellect will help to people which are less than medium, has less than medium brain. But if you are going to be above the medium level, you should think by yourself. So not a single tool, not a program, not an artificial intellect will help you to solve invention problem. Never. And the reason is because this method is not suitable to create inventions.
And when it actually comes to, like probably it might be more like I would say romanticized or whatever, there might be some sort of inventions that actually could be discovered right after the inventor already was passed away. So just because maybe it was not the good marketing, if I can put such words, or maybe not a good, like addition. Again, like at one of the skills you mentioned, that sometimes you may see like a 2 last names at the certain of the hypothesis, meaning that or the theories, or the methods, meaning that at least first person was not able to actually do to 100%. So how we would go about this thing?
It is very hard. You should think very, very carefully. Let's give an example as a Rutherford. He found a lot of radiation, and then he created 13 rules, and then he quit this industry and never returned back. And all of his pupils died because of radiation, but they couldn't create a single new rule. So when you think about something, you should make a pit a biggest you can, and then you should step out and think if there is any reason to make it deeper or wider. Maybe not. For example, Maxim, we doing these podcasts, and maybe some people will think, okay, 500 is enough. Not enough. The largest amount of podcasts in book of Guinness is 2,700 Now we have 6,600, and we will do it like maybe 8, maybe 10. You should multiply your success. In this case, you will have just a single surname in your invention.
Well, and then my last question will be how knowing about inventions could help to make this world a better place.
Maybe that is the best suitable place to put this question. Yes, invention could make our life better. For example, I have a robot vacuum cleaner. I am happy about this. If you have no robot vacuum cleaner, you couldn't understand the happiness when each day at the same time by schedule, it's clean your room and you will find a piece of dust inside of it. And you will understand, now I am not breathing this in my lungs. If, for example, you have some program which will produce from your speech your subtitles and you will write your book or your article by saying to microphone, you would be happy. You should not use any other person or by yourself type. You could save your time for what you like. For example, my friend and my client several days ago bought, and maybe on these weekends we will install, he bought a kitchen robot. There is a three hands, and this robot could create like 500 meals, and each meal would be made completely automatically. I am so happy to see it. It even cleans the dishes.
Создавайте и делайте мир лучше. А мы рассмотрели навык изобретательства и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира.